Hi, so my name is Paul Chichester. I'm the Director of Operations at the NCSC, and I'm really thrilled to be talking to Professor Thomas Ridd today at our CYBERUK event in Belfast. Thomas is a world-leading expert in a whole range of cyber operations and how cyber has played out through history and in current events and current conflict. And I'm really pleased to be able to talk to him today about cyber operations and disinformation. So, Thomas, I'd be really interested in your thoughts in terms of how the topic of disinformation has been developing over the last few years. It's become a real sort of topic of conversation. But one of the real challenges I think we have is really measuring its impact and whether there are ways of measuring that, and therefore how important and how big a topic is it?
Yeah, measuring the impact of active measures, to use the old Cold War jargon, has been a problem for operators as well as targets for decades, and I think it's an unresolvable issue at heart, because ultimately disinformation operations are always a mix of both truth and sometimes forgeries, but more importantly they exacerbate existing trends, exacerbate, in the Cold War language again that KGB and Stasi used, unresolved contradictions in the target society, political conflicts that exist nascently, tease them out. Now if that happens, it's really hard to say, does it happen organically or because you interfered? So we have to appreciate that the operators themselves, say GRU or others, will tend to overestimate their own effectiveness because of that hard measuring problem.
So Thomas, as a historian, obviously you're well aware of the importance of sources and the trustworthiness of those sources. In the world that we're now in, trust in the variety of sources of information that are out there can be really difficult. So how do you sort of view that in the sort of modern world that we're in at the moment?
Sourcing is indeed a very difficult problem. And I think that the menu of sources available for scholars, researchers like me is broadening out. We have social media posts, we have press reports that never make it into print, we have company reports on various things. And of course the sources have to be used and measured and assessed on their own merits. So it's case dependent is the answer. But a bigger problem is coming towards us, and that is government organizations like yours will have documents that get archived, and after a few decades the archive is open. That is unclear for company reports, and in fact also for many social media sources. So I'm really concerned about future historians, if you like, and the sources that they will have available. I suspect they may be thinner than what I have today.
In the sort of current conflict in Ukraine, how have you sort of seen cyber operations play out in that domain?
Yes, a lot of us are watching the conflict, war in Ukraine, and for the cyber operations and their impact. And perhaps noteworthy is that we haven't seen the sort of strategically significant effects operations yet, and we may not see them at all. What we're seeing is contained and limited wiping, destructive attacks that destroy data. But interestingly, they're more contained than, for example, NotPetya, a large, widely spread attack from 2017. So possibly some of the Russian operators have learned their lessons to contain their worms a little better. And then, of course, there's disinformation, which I suspect in Ukraine is meeting an audience that is a little more prepared because they've been dealing with this for a long time and have a higher level of media literacy. Not everybody, of course, but a lot of people. And but I think it's important to point out the most significant type of SIGINT, really, of collection, of technical operation, if you like, is collection on Russian targets, on Russian operations, as we've seen in the Discord leaks. And that, I think, in hindsight, I suspect may be the most significant aspect.
Thank you. Well, Thomas, thank you for joining us today, and look forward to joining you in the conference for the rest of the week. Thank you very much.